दो को 50
Smiles all around. They take the victory. Spirit will take the game.
It was a much-needed victory for Spirit, not just when it comes to the scoreboards, but I think a little bit of morale as well. And to be able to bounce back in a game like that, ooh, you're gonna be feeling good, Quinn.
Winning games where you're behind always feels the best. Snatching victory from the jaws of defeat I could not get my words. Snatching victory from the jaws of defeat just feels extra special. And I think that's Spirit. It's one of their biggest strengths as a team. And I like the way they drafted this game. I like the deviation they did from some of the ways they were drafting and picking yesterday, and I think it suits them much better because they are the kings of comeback. No matter how much you're ahead, no matter how easy the game feels, it's never over when you're against this team.
That's the spark that we thought they might have lost, right? That is so reminiscent for Spirit years gone by, and you know, there's been two changes for themselves right now. In Blast Slam, of course, LOL just taking a little bit of a leave of absence right now and having just a replacement, by no means leaving the team permanently. But you do have two big change-ups for themselves in the last few months, and so you wonder, is that spark still there? Well, they proved us wrong in this game for sure. And OG kicking themselves, everything was going so well for themselves. And as much as maybe Owen and Falcons were joking about that misclick for the greedy enchantment for the side of Natsumi, obviously that wasn't the main thing that undid it, but it was very coincidental how the fights then played out afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely was a misclick, and I think it also had a pretty substantial impact. Like, I think it genuinely can't be understated. Suddenly you're minus 60 damage, and on top of that, you're minus another enchantment you could have had. So you could, it's maybe you're minus 60 damage and 30 attack speed. Like, that adds up quite a bit. That's a big item.
Especially when you playing the way Natsumi was, there were a lot of times we saw him blinking into these engagements. And when you're in this mindset of you do have that extra 60, you know just how much damage you can dish out. So when you blink in, you're not doing that damage. All of a sudden, you're not blowing up a support. You're not blowing up one of the heroes and you have the numbers advantage. It's, oh, they still have all of their spells that they can use on me.
No, that's a great point. I think it definitely messes with your feel, and he's played who knows how many TA games, hundreds,
too many,
if not over 1,000
yeah.
TA games. And all of that feel is completely shot because you're right, you look at your items, you've played so many games, your muscle memory is that this guy's going to die. And you see it in those fights, he blinks in a little too deep, he feeds 2 kills that are really, really bad, and the game snowballs off of that. And maybe, like you said, if he has that extra damage, it makes the difference there. And I think not just that greedy item decision, but item decisions in general across this game, both for OG and for Spirit, mattered quite a bit.
So this was it. What minute mark was this? This was 27 minutes. Yeah. So that was
and
like
you're stuck with
like leaning over the desk.
You can't get rid of it.
No,
like,
you can't.
It's just you're just locked.
For that time,
minus 60 damage.
You better just enjoy farming, I guess, or doing something. Anything that isn't running into Team Spirit, which is what they eventually did. But yeah, you talked about it. When you have a certain feel, it's muscle memory, right? Any small thing, whether it's patch or whether it's enchantment, changes a hero. It skews a lot of things off. But there's one hero you love to the absolute nines that you have played so many games of, Void Spirit. You love this hero so much.
I love him. And Yopaj did not know what he was doing this game on him. I'll be completely honest. I don't think this item build is very good.
From the eyes of a Void Spirit connoisseur.
That's
obviously.
right. I have the most Void Spirit games professionally. And
I would believe that.
So I know my stuff. And he's going for Manta, and he's also skipped the Shard, and on top of that, he's gone for the 2-4-4 skill build. I think Void Spirit, since the universal damage nerfs, buying stat items and actually trying to right-click is not super feasible. And so, in my opinion, you don't want to go for the Shard. You want to have your Q
What is
max.
the Shard? Sorry?
The Shard is the Q, like, doesn't proc on camps. It just sits there and lasers them. So you can actually just put it on camps and farm with them. He did amazing in the lane. He beat the co-op pretty hard. I think for the duration of that early game was having considerably higher impact. But I think you could see the fall off at some point, going for this Manta, going for this E-Blade, compared to, I think, an alternate build of something like the Shard with Octarine into Shivas and playing off of that tanking, being the anti-morphling and allowing you to get more of these Qs off with the reduced cooldown. And being that disruptive force in fights, I think is a way that this hero much prefers to play.
And during this time period as well, where you're talking about Void is having a lot of impact, that's where we're questioning the Queen of Pain a little bit. Why was this Spirit's last pick? What did they see we didn't? And on top of that, the item build, again, is what you kind of have to mention there.
Yeah, I think it was a little peculiar in for both of them in the item builds. I think the Ags rush this game on Queen of Pain doesn't make a ton of sense against Void.
Again, you might want to reminder what the Ags does?
Yeah, the Ags is the AoE dagger. It's the spam dagger build. Generally, you do it in games against melee heroes or sort of heroes that don't have a great way to dispel the daggers. You can keep spam AoE daggering them and dealing them massive damage. I think that's the best build you can do in games that it's good. But in this game, he's playing against Void Spirit, can dodge it. TA can dodge it. And not on top of that, it's multiple dispels. So a bit of a surprising choice. I think it pays off considerably later in the game, which Spirit eventually gets to. But you could see the weight, I think, that was tied to in the early game.
Do you think it could have been more to do with maybe the supports, like seeing elements of having that AoE daggers against the supports, or the fact that the Primal, considering how good Nico was doing for himself in that early game? This Primal Beast was a lot to be reckoned with.
Yeah, Nico was definitely, he was cooking earlier stages in the game. As he's got some clips where he's kind of just running around killing everyone. And I think OGs, their early pressure was amazing, but I think part of it, the calculations may have been the Fatal Bonds. You've got this Queen of Bane Fatal Bonds combo. It's a lot of AoE damage. And also when you think about like what else he could buy, it's one of those games where because of the Faceless Void, it's not that easy to really buy anything because buying Dispels on Queen is just sad. And so maybe he's just committing to the bit saying, I'm going to buy this Ags, and it's going to scale later, even though right now it's going to feel a little awkward.
Yeah, look at this. The fact that OG just had no reservations in being near a tier 3 like that during the game, to see them walk away with a loss, it just almost feels like the maths is not mathing by any means. Like, it's just, Primal did a lot. Yopaj obviously had a great start shutting down the Queen of Pain too, and then you have that one misclick, whether it was the end or be, there were a lot of different factors, but heartbreak for OG and big props for Spirit. Like we said, not only in scores did they need this win for themselves, they were only on 2 wins before this one, but morale as well. I think it's just like the team needed it.
No, I totally agree. And I think it goes to show this Faceless Void hero why not a lot of teams are going for it. I think when you itemize well against it, and they also picked this Morphling in response to it. When you see those two heroes, you don't really think too much of it. But Yatoro, every single fight is stealing the Void, and he's just playing Faceless Void, which is a broken 6-slotted hero, and he gets to play it for free with the farming and the laning abilities that Morphling has. That goes a really long way. And on top of that, you know, you see Collapse, he goes for Yules into Pipe this game. That's not a typical Mars build, but they're adjusting to the fact they're playing its time dilation. Every single one of the heroes buys a Dispel at some point, and then you end up at this 35-40 minute mark and onwards, you're -1 hero. This Void doesn't do anything, literally nothing, genuinely. He doesn't exist.
Not only as a hero, but it's like his items, he's building boots and then he's kind of just rushing Lincolns for himself. And that is the last thing you want your support to be rushing, because now you're down things like a Glimmer or a Force Staff or a Yules yourself when you think about how expensive a Lincolns is. And it's like, there's so many other supporting items that Faceless Void could have had for himself. So it is one of those things that the draft really came together for Spirit, but on top of that, they played beautifully. Over on the B stream, they had a little bit of fun too, and we don't normally touch too much on the B stream, but this was something I could not let go untalked about at all. Yeah, of course, it is MOUZ up against Falcons. It's probably going to be a Husker in there no matter what, banned or picked up, and MOUZ opened the draft with that Husker there, and what you aren't really seeing right now is who ends up playing it. It's Celery. They move it to a position 5 Husker after an Ancient Apparition is picked up by the side of Falcons.
Yeah, flexing heroes like this is such an interesting conversation, because while part of it is like, we got you, we've got a better matchup somewhere else, what you do is you put someone who's, first of all, not comfortable on this hero, and it's also a role that it's very bad. He's 1-3-1 at the end of the game. Did not really do very much, clearly.
Okay, but only 3 deaths when Falcons had 37 kills.
Yes, but he also is the lowest kill participation of any hero on 5.
Whoa, relax,
and that's
relax,
a problem.
relax.
That's a bit of a problem. Funnily enough, there was a period in time where Celery was practicing 5 Huskar to just play it normally whenever I was playing with him. So it was a different time.
He was hoping there would be some potential flex between you and him if you guys opened with a Huskar.
No, I think he just wanted to play Huskar. Like he just thought Huskar 5 was good. He just wanted to play it. So evidencing here, it's not great. And I think they got a little too big for their britches. Picking Huskar, the enemy responds A, you're like, oh, it's fine, guys, it's fine. No,
we just put a support.
It's not fine, guys. It's not fine. You needed to ban this hero or not first pick the Huskar. Something different going on, but yeah, this is a little silly, and MOUZ, they need to get their bearings because it's rough for them right now.
What would you rather, position 4 Faceless Void or position 5 Huskar?
Genuinely 4 Void, and I hate 4 Void.
Well, that's the sort of realm we're in with Dota right now, but also the fact that it just does not stop here at Blastland. We have our next best of one, Xtreme Gaming up against Tundra. I don't really want to talk about Tundra right now. They're doing great in a Blastland. Schmieshma always happens for them, right? But Xtreme Gaming, this is the team where we're like, they were just playing in an online tournament, won that one for themselves. They come here, they got the ball rolling for themselves. Does it continue? Are there expectations now? And that's always been an issue for a couple of Chinese teams. Once expectations are placed, do they crumble?
And I think this team is a team that can meet those expectations or even surpass them potentially. There's a lot of players, a lot of the best Chinese players, even historically, not just in recent history, but when you look at all time, Xnova, Ame, these players, it's hard to have a conversation about the best. I mean, you know, Xnova's Malaysian, but on Chinese teams who have had the most success, I think they're great at performing under pressure. They've won many, many tournaments, and they've got the GOAT Chinese coach in Zhao 8. So I think if any Chinese team is going to, you know, live up to the region standards, I think it's these guys.
Well, they're already doing it. 5-3 right now for Xtreme Gaming, but they're coming up against our first seed here at Blastland, Tundra. So let's see what's going to happen in our draft. Well, if I can give free advice to anyone, and trust me, I like to do it a lot. This one, though, I think has resonated with a lot of people. Take out the Invoker.
Let's go!
And they do it. They actually did it before I even said it. And I have to say, what is up with teams just letting Tundra get it? Words literally cannot explain my frustration when it feels like an ego trip some teams have to not ban out this Invoker against BZM, but it's taken out this time around. We don't have to dwell on it too much, along with the side of Treant Protector, which is hardly seeing the light of day right now in competitive, with Shadow Demon and Primal Beast 2. Two heroes that we saw just before in our best of one.
Yeah, and those are heroes that Xtreme plays very, very well, so super logical bans. I think everything makes sense across the board. The MOUZ as well. It's not a hero we see first phase banned a ton, but it's a hero that 33 will never ever play, and X is one of the best MOUZs in the world. So makes a lot of sense. On the flip side, XG now with Bat and Shaman bans. I think both teams very much going down the line of we're banning stuff that you really like and we're not big fans of, which is, I think, generally a pretty good school of thought on bans.
MOUZ is really popping off this event, I would say. It was one of those ones that people kind of looked at it for day one. They're like, oh, maybe toe in the line, but it's extremely popular and doing really well for itself too. A similar sort of hero is Shadow Fiend. Pure has already played 2 games on this Shadow Fiend, actually 3 now, I believe it is. And he does that, what is it, the mix of magic and physical damage?
Yeah, Kayasha blink into like Silver Edge Daedalus.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's cool. I like it. It fits his style, and we mentioned it the other day, but I think it fits playing with 33. Every team that this guy's on will always be all about him, and when you're playing with him, whether you're playing carry, mid, or any other role, you got to make space, because this guy's farming. So I think playing this sort of almost mid style from the safe lane and getting more involved in those fights, I think it makes a lot of sense. And it also fits Pure's, you know, sort of pseudo hipster play style. I am curious to see though how Xtreme